Hi everyone, welcome back. Hoping that at this point all the projects are submitted, chasing students is over, and all the marks have been uploaded. By this time of the year, Subject B teachers usually release a very loud sigh of relief. Alhamdulillah for the end of the longest term. And I know thinking of the next term seems like tomorrow's problem, and your head is probably screaming, I don't want to think about next term. But ladies and gentlemen, doing 15 minutes prep work now is going to make your next term much easier. Today, I'm going to share a few tips that have helped me feel ready for a new term without all the stress. These aren't the ultimate solutions, but things that I've found work well, and I'm always open to learning from you too. Tip number 1. Organize your space and materials. As teachers, we're all familiar with how easily a chaotic space can turn into a chaotic mind. A cluttered desk, scattered materials can make it difficult to focus, adding unnecessary stress to our already busy schedules. That's why it's crucial to allocate some time to sort and organize your material. Begin by designating specific areas for different categories of resources. If your electrical kits have gone left and right while preparing for competitions or using them during the curriculum, put them back in place to prepare for upcoming competitions and lessons. Throw out any pile of draft papers that you don't need and put away the ones that you do need. When each item has a home, it's easier to keep your space tidy and find what you need quickly. In addition to your physical workspace, organizing your digital files can be a game changer. Create folders on your computer for each subject or curriculum you teach, and use subfolders to group files, units, lessons, or any resources. And because resources from Term 1, including students' work, has already taken up a large space on our computers, upload them on OneDrive instead of keeping them on your computer, and make some room for the upcoming resources. If you have created any exams, quizzes, or in-class activities during this term, upload them on a question bank in order to use them next year. Tip number 2. Plan for first day back. We're all familiar with the repeated cycle of, anyone planned anything for day 1? Unfortunately, we sometimes don't get a quick response and end up improvising in the lesson. To avoid that and prepare to set a good pace for the beginning of term, it's best to have the welcome back slides ready. Start by deciding what you want to do with your students. Do you want an icebreaker activity, a diagnostic test to check on students' knowledge in the topics before starting to teach them? And I find this useful in a way that it can serve as a pre-assessment for your students, which can be used later in documentation when asked for. And lastly, you could use the first lesson back to complete an expectation survey or an evaluation of the previous academic term. I usually do all 3 of them during first week back, given that the attendance is very low and I don't want to dive into the material when many students are still off. Tip number 3. Get your trackers and templates ready. Tracking progress can feel like just one more thing to keep up with, but it doesn't have to be complex. If you're happy with the trackers provided by ESE, you can go on and use them. They don't really work well for me, so I created my own tracker. To prepare for the next term, you can create an Excel sheet with the color coding done and the cells filled completely. Everyone will be marked as present and behavior is set to best. At the beginning of each lesson, you'll only have to insert late and absent students. Similarly for behavior, you only need to enter the problems when they arise. Having a filled out sheet reduces the time spent to log attendance at the beginning of the lesson, saving you enough time to do the more important things, teaching the lesson. This also gives me an overview of how many students have missed out on materials or are repeatedly disrupting the lesson by showing up late. The behavior section helps keep record of the student's performance or causes of their drop. as it holds details of severity of their behavior and the kind of problems they've caused in the lesson. The last section is the academic performance. It helps me stay on top of who might need a little extra help and who's ready for more challenges. Having a tracker helps when we do our check-ins. A lot of times we hear students complaining, "Teacher, why you give me C?" which in reality is just a reflection of their effort. Trackers can back you up when you're having these conversations with either students or parents. Tip number 4. Educate yourselves on topics you find difficult. One thing I found challenging when I started teaching CDI is that the curriculum is always updated and that the topics levels are way above students' levels, and my own level sometimes. I have a background in mechanical engineering, and as the curriculum changes toward computer science topics, I found myself spending more and more time trying to study the material, understand it, learn it, summarize and simplify it in order to teach it. And I'm sure you're aware how time-consuming that is. If you know the topics for next term and you know they're one of the topics you don't understand, then use the time now to try and learn them. One trick I use is by asking ChatGPT to explain that topic to a 5-year-old, using simple analogies that high school students can relate to. In that way, ChatGPT summarizes and simplifies all those topics into something simpler that even a 5-year-old can understand and even high school students can relate to. So it's a win-win situation. It usually works like magic. Topics like operating system, virtual memory management, and many other were all new to me. But the analogies suggested by ChatGPT have helped me deliver those lessons with hardly any complaints of the topic being dense or difficult. Tip number 5. Remember to take a break. Don't forget to breathe, seriously. Take a break before diving back in. This is a reminder for both you and me. We're always planning and prepping, but a clear mind makes everything feel a bit lighter. Maybe it's a walk, a good book, or a weekend just to recharge. The winter break is also right around the corner. Enjoy it to the fullest. It makes all the difference when we're ready to welcome the students back with fresh energy. So there you have it. These are my essentials for starting a new term. I hope something here resonates with you, and if you have any tips or routines that keep you going, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear what works for you because we're all in this together, learning as we go. Thanks for watching and have a good day.